Right. Um, so I've been using NeoBeam for a very long time, and just this last year, I believe, I, this last summer I tried Kakoune for the first time, and to be fair, it just feels like everything I liked from Beam, but better. Except the plugin system, of course, but that comes with pros and cons. Let me show you what I mean. So first of all, let's take a quick look at NeoBeam, just to be in the same page here. Let's open the Git file. Right. So I don't have many plugins installed, so it's going to be a very surface look into it. But yeah, I don't have any plugins installed in my Beam session, like just absolute minimal. So there are a couple of problems that I have with Beam keybinds specifically. Let's say if I want to get to the end and the beginning of the file, I can use G to go to the end of the file, like Shift G, and double G to go to the start, dollar to go to the end of the line, and 0 to go to the beginning of the line. Now, the only reason one can possibly reach the conclusion of any of the keys is by memorizing by heart. Like, there is no way anyone can reach that just by pure intuition. And I believe that to be a problem. Like, for things like movement, like, alright, HJKL kind of makes sense because they are all together. And from that point onwards, shouldn't we use HJKL in some more intuitive way, so to move around the file instead of keeping these weird commands that nobody remembers why they were like this? Like, they just were, and to avoid breaking everyone's workflow, they never changed them. And so that there's some legacy stuff that's being kept for no real reason. And yeah, I mean, that's my main problem with Vim. There's a couple of problems more with the fact that everyone is doing Lua plugins now, and everyone's trying to make it the next Visual Studio Code. I don't have any of that installed, so you cannot see it, but I've seen interfaces more cluttered than the VS Code interface in some NeoBeam instances, which I find it to be a little much for my own taste. But whatever, it's optional. And then you have Kakoune, which takes a very different approach. Yeah, as I was saying earlier, it's easier to just have, for instance, a Go command, let's say G, and use the HJKL keys to move around, like HJ to go to the bottom, JK to go to the top, GL to go to the right, and GH to go to the left. It's simple, it's intuitive, and you can kind of figure it out on your own. Or if you want to go to a specific line, you just quantify G, excuse me. So I could, for instance, press 15 and then G, and that will lead me to line 15. It's pretty simple stuff. And also whenever I press G, you can see that there is a little hint of the things I can do with this key. Yeah, it's really useful. It makes a lot of sense. So not only you have little help windows around in case you're lost, but you most of the time don't really need them because they are extremely intuitive compared to NeoBeam keybinds. Then there's also things related to the functionality of keys. Like for instance, if I open NeoBeam again and try to delete a line, well, there's the delete command, which is D, but D doesn't do anything. I need to press it in combination to another command, like for instance double D will remove the line, the dollar will remove until the end of the line, and the 0 will remove until the beginning of the line. Now, I mean, it makes sense, but it's either confusing. And also, if I'm selecting something and I press D, that selection gets deleted. So, as you can see, D has a lot of behavior. And you can expect it, because it's more or less the same for all the other keys, but it's somewhat confusing. While in Kakoune, when you press D, you delete the selection. If you have nothing selected, quote unquote, then you are selecting the character you're standing in. So this gets removed. If you do shift something, you can just select everything you're working on, and then I can just press D and everything here gets deleted. Simple, right? And if I want to select until the end of the line, well, I can do Alt-L or Alt-R if I want to select until the beginning, and then just press D to remove. It's simple. Or if I move around with E and B, I'm also selecting everything I'm moving through, and I can just press D to it, or press Shift to select just a little more and then press D. Or D 2 times here. Like it's very simple. It's very simple stuff. Or if I want to select everything inside of this parenthesis, I press M and then D to remove, or Y to copy, or well, R to replace. So again, very simple stuff compared to NeoBeam. It's very intuitive, very straightforward, and for every key you're already expecting what the behavior is going to be in the different situations that you can use it in. Which, to be fair, there aren't many. It's NeoBeam that has more strange situations to it. Same thing goes for the multiple cursors. Like I can just do this and start typing, and every single cursor behaves like one of its own, which is very simple stuff. But then you do it in NeoBeam, and you need to first do a visual block, and then press Shift I for some reason, and then you can start typing. And everything you've typed, when you press Escape, it's going to repeat in every single line. Now, that doesn't make much sense to me, or at least it doesn't make as much sense as having multiple cursors and letting each one of them do their own thing separately. Like Kakoune just focuses on simplifying problems in a way that it's absurdly simple. It's stupidly simple, and that's done with the objective of clearing noise in your mind. The same way that keyboard-only workflows were meant to get rid of some of the noise, because you didn't need to constantly be focusing on switching to the mouse and then back to the keyboard and then back to the mouse. That part was removed so that there was less noise and you could focus better. Well, same thing goes for Kakoune. Like some of these keys, you had to memorize them by heart, and most of them didn't make much sense. And while in Kakoune everything feels intuitive, everything feels like it was meant to be. And I think that's something that a lot of people are missing the point of. They think it's just keybinds to make things pressing less keys, but no, it's keybinds that make things more intuitive. And so they make you faster by extension. Right. Now there's a couple more things to mention about Kakoune. The first one is the fact that it doesn't have windows, and that the behavior is always the one that you expect, which is editing text. So for instance, if you wanted to do some sort of telescope, you need to do it in a separate window. And from this separate window, then you I select the file I want to open, and it opens here. And if I want to switch buffers, well, I mean, of course, there's default functionality to switch buffers over here. Now I can switch the buffer I want, for instance, the debug one, which is always there. But yeah, you can open it in a telescope as well. And if you wanted to have I don't know, a Yazzie plugin like the one you have in NeoBeam, then you have to open Yazzie in a separate window every time. And although this can seem somewhat unintuitive, well, like somewhat off, that the program is not handling everything by itself, this abides a lot more to the Unix philosophy, and it also keeps the program simple and clean. Kakoune is for editing text and nothing else. And you can create your own hooks, and so that you can open different programs from Kakoune for different functionality. But Kakoune just remains the same. Kakoune remains the text editor, and it's nothing more than that. And you can also not split the screen in different windows. I've seen people just open different Kakoune instances with some plugins to simulate that way simulating the kind of behavior you will have in Beam when splitting things into different windows. But I personally haven't done any. I haven't played with that idea at all, so I can't speak for myself. But I know it's possible. I know it's possible, and if you have a window manager, it works pretty well. And it's also super fast to open, unlike all these text editors that you see nowadays. So yeah, I think it's perfectly viable. Oh, and it has a language server protocol. So yeah, that will be everything for Kakoune. It's a pretty nice text editor if you want to try it out. And it's very practical and very productive. The only thing that's missing is AI plugins, but I don't think that people that will be interested in something like Kakoune will care at all about that. So yeah, that's it.